Hey guys, it's Josh, and before you start the video, whether you're a friend or family, new or old, or Let's Place Animes, or Cardfight Empire family, I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement. We are definitely going to be supporting the Black Lives Matter movement on both of my channels, of course, because I'm a person of color. So if you guys haven't, done your research or informed yourself about what's going on in the world right now, please, I urge you to do so, especially if you're, especially if you enjoy the channels that I create, and I am a person of color content creator, so I definitely want you guys to be able to make informed decisions about what's going on in the world around you. So there are links on my Instagram, which are going to be right here, so definitely go check out my Instagram if you guys are interested in the Black Lives Matter movement and you want to know how you can get involved and help out. But with that being said, be safe, be smart, stay informed, stay involved, and enjoy the video. Peace, guys. Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whether you're joining me from the present or the future. Welcome back to another FutureFight Vanguard video. This is going to be a brand new type of FutureFight Vanguard video that I'm kind of just experimenting with at the time, but I've been having a lot of problems with syncing my microphone and my camera, so from now on I'm going to be trying to do my FutureFights without my camera just so that I can get some content out for you guys, because it's been really frustrating me. But let me know in the comments down below if this is something that you prefer, if you don't care, if you would really rather see my face, or if you just need my voice for the information. I think you just need my voice for the information, but I could also see how seeing my face would make it a more entertaining video for you guys. But today we're going to be continuing on our FutureFight videos, so welcome back to the FutureFight series. We're going to be continuing with the V-EB13 set, which is the Astral Force. Today we're going to be covering the Angel Feather part of the set. So Angel Feathers in this set gets good support, in my opinion, which deals with Protect 2, actually, which is pretty interesting because Bushiroad hasn't made Protect 2 as appealing as Protect 1 ever since we've gotten Protect 2, so it's really cool that they have given Angel Feather specifically some cards that work better with Protect 2 and the Protect 2 playstyle. So we're going to go over that deck today, but if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe down below, leave a like on the video if you like it, comment down below letting me know your thoughts on the video, especially the new style of video. I would love to hear you guys' opinion on that. Be sure to click the bell button below as well so that you get a notification every time our video goes live. Also, be sure to check out our social medias in the description down below: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the new Twitch, which is a combined Twitch between both my platforms. So definitely come by. I'll be streaming some Vanguard stuff on there, some anime stuff on there, and some video game stuff on there from time to time. So to get updates on that, the best way is to follow any one of the Instagrams. But yeah, you can just go and follow the Twitch as well so that you just know when we're live. Last but not least, if you guys are interested in anime, animation, or video games, be sure to check out my second channel down below, Let's Place Animes, in the description. And also be sure to check out the join button for this channel if you are interested in becoming a member and getting extra perks while supporting the channel. But with that being said, let's get right into today's deck. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about Angel Feather. So let's get right into the build. So we have, or I guess first let's talk about, the Protect 1, Protect 2 difference. Now you can go Protect 1. I think in some matchups it's even preferred to go Protect 1. But I usually go Protect 2 just because of the way that my build is set up. I built a completely Protect 2 reliant build, and even if we're against control, you have stuff like, Sekio Angel that cannot be chosen, but you have to have a Protect mark in the same column, so you have to go Protect 2 for this to be live. So definitely just kind of play around with what style works for you, but I will say that this build is tailored to be towards Protect 2. So let's get right into it. So we have our 4 of our Ace card, our new Ace card, which is for Arch-Ader Malkuth-melekh, which it has 2 Vanguard abilities. The first one is when placed, Counterblast 2, and if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 2, you can deal it 1 damage. And if it is grade 3 or greater, heal a card from your damage zone, and then you perform a damage check. So this is really cool because basically you don't perform a damage tech based off of the first skill, but this is cool for your opponent because you basically gives them a quote-unquote fair shot at having like some kind of defense that turn. So basically, if you deal them a damage while they're on grade 2 in exchange for you getting to deal them a free damage with the skill, they also get to check a damage trigger. So that does make it harder to hit them and stuff like that, but you do have a lot of units that gain power, so getting over them won't ever be a problem. It's just that they have a little more extra shield or a little more extra oomph. Also, for some reason, if your opponent gets grade locked on grade 2, this is really scummy to talk about, but if your opponent gets grade locked on grade 2 and you're able to rush them to 5 damage before going to grade 3 or something like that, or on your second grade 3 turn they still haven't gotten to grade 3, you can actually ride Malkuth-melekh and use the skill to deal them a 6 damage. Now, that is very unique because a lot of the damaging skills that would damage your opponent, they have a cap off at 5 damage, meaning that you cannot use it to deal them that killing damage. But with Malkuth-melekh, you actually can deal them that killing damage. So very, very cool in that respect. So let's talk about the second Vanguard skill, which is an activation skill used during your main phase once per turn. You can Soul Blast one for the cost, and then call up to 3 cards from your drop zone to rear guard. 3 of your front row units get plus 5,000 power, and then you deal this unit 1 damage, and you perform a damage check. So also very, very good. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about the first part of the skill, is that the first part of the skill, when your opponent's on grade 3, allows you to heal a damage. And then the second part of the skill allows you to deal yourself a damage while also calling 3 units from your drop zone. So it's very good at replenishing your board. That way you don't have to use cards from your hand. And this is also good for the Protect 2 playstyle because you have a lot of cards that work well with Protect 2. So you want to be intercepting them off in the middle of your turns. And then basically after that, you just bring them back with Malkuth-melekh and make sure that you always have the ideal field. So very, very good card to work off of. For our next grade 3, we have 4 Crimson Impact Metatron. This card has been a staple at 4 since Angel Feather came out. It's just way too good not to run at 4 in my opinion. But it has 2 Vanguard skills. The first one is when ridden on top of a grade 3, you can counterblast 2, choose a card from your damage zone, call it to rearguard circle, and this unit gets plus 15,000 power. So the main part that we care about with this skill is that you counterblast 2 and you call a card from your damage zone to rearguard. So you're effectively healing a damage and you're getting a +1 to your board. On top of that, Metatron gets plus 15k, so it becomes a 27k that can swing on anything on the board, and it's a good number on Excel and Protect decks. So the secondary ability is activation skill once per turn during your main phase. You can put a card from your damage zone to the bottom of your deck and then deal this unit 1 damage and you perform a damage check. So this is a really cool ability as well because not only does it allow you a free counter charge because you can put a face down card to the bottom of your deck, but you can also make sure that that face down card is a trigger, so you can make sure that you're counter blasting your triggers so that you can move them to the bottom of the deck and hopefully check a new trigger in the damage check. Something like a crit can really help you set up well because, like, if you already used the first ability and you're 27k, checking a crit can put this card to 37k with 2 crit if you decide to go all skills to Vanguard, and then it can be pretty hard for your opponent to block if they don't have APG to start off with. So yeah. So lastly, in our grade 3 lineup, we have 2 Preside Chief Jomajal, Dimmadome. But what this card does is on Vanguard Rearguard Circle, when placed from hand, you can counterblast 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and then you can reveal up to the same number of Jomel, this card, Amputation Angel, or Sekio Angel from among them, as the same number of Protect markers on your circles, and then put them into your hand and shuffle your deck. So this is another card that is purely Excel 2 based. So, you know, go Excel 2. I mean, sorry, not Excel 2. Protect 2. This is another card that is Protect 2 based, so definitely go Protect 2. This has saved me in a couple games of playtesting. Like, there's been games where I did not have a board, I did not have any of my key units, and I'm able to just play Jomel, and let's say that I have 3 Protect 2 markers on the field. If I check top 7, I can just grab 3 units as long as they are this card, Amputation Angel or Sekio Angel. So very good card all around and really just rounds out the build for advantage. Next up, going into our grade 2 lineup, we have 4 Aidroid Zine. So what Zine does is it has a Vanguard Rearguard continuous skill and an auto Rearguard skill. So let's go over the continuous skill first. Vanguard Rearguard during your turn. If a new card was put into your opponent's damage zone during this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. So this is very good on the grade 2 turn. You can ride this card, deal your opponent a damage with the Rearguard, and then basically ensure that they cannot just check a damage trigger to get out of your attack. as they would normally be able to do. So it really promotes your opponent guarding the first attack, the first rearguard attack, and then you'll still hit them with the Vanguard attack as well. So just very good, prevents them from using cheesy stuff such as triggers to get out of taking damage, or at least getting out of guarding. And then it works very well with the second skill as well, which is when it attacks a Vanguard and it's on the rearguard circle. You can choose one of your opponent's rearguards and you may put it into the damage zone. If you do, your opponent heals a card from their damage zone, and at the end of the battle, retire this unit. So this card does allow them to countercharge one. I want you guys to be aware of that, because it does put a rearguard into their damage zone as face up, and then it allows them to remove a card from their damage zone as effectively healing a damage. However, you do get to control their board and control specific units with basically a control card. So you're able to just get a card out and put it into their damage zone. So a lot of times, if they can't get cards back from their damage zone or their drop zone, you just, got rid of that unit for the entire game. So I really think that it's worth it. Also, you have a couple units in this deck that are based off of like how many face up damage your opponent has, like Ampoule Diffuser. So really it leaves a tough decision for your opponent whether they want to heal that damage and go back down and have the same amount of counterblast that they had, or have an extra uncounterblasted damage at the expense of us using more of our skills as well. So moving on to our next grade 2 in the deck, we have 4 Amputation Angel. Has 2 rearguard abilities, so a pure rearguard reliant card. So this is the first continuous ability is if you have a protect marker in the same column as this unit gets plus 15,000 power. So obviously a protect 2 base card, just like the grade 3 that we talked about before that searches it. And then the second rearguard ability is during the battle that it attacked, if you have 3 or more protect markers on your circles, anywhere on your circles, then your opponent cannot guard with sentinels from his or her hand. So this makes this card very, very good, because you can get this card up to very, very high columns really fast. And I'm telling you, against other protect decks, and even against force decks and excel decks, it becomes a doozy when your opponent's at 5 damage and cannot just PG this card, because it can just become really, really massive. Next up, our last grade 2 in the deck, we run 3 Ampoule Diffuser. So this card is very, very good in my opinion, because we definitely just care about making numbers. This is almost a beatdown type deck with healing, in my opinion. So you really just want to increase the amount of rearguards that you have that can get big power. And so Ampoule Diffuser is actually one of those cards. So on Vanguard rearguard circle, when it attacks, if our opponent's damage zone has 1 or more face-up cards, then this unit gets plus 5,000 power. And then if they have 2 or more face-up cards, then it gets plus 15k instead of 5,000. So it can attack for 14k when your opponent has 1 counterblast open. And if they have 2 or more counterblasts open, then it can attack for 24 without a booster, which is very, very good number on all types of decks. Moving on to our grade 1 lineup, we have 4 Adroid Lamedo. So Lamedo has 2 abilities. The first one is Vanguard Rearguard. During your turn, if a new card was put into your opponent's damage zone this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So obviously just rewarding you for dealing your opponent a damage in this turn, whether it be through Malkuth-melekh or an attack that came before this attack boost or attacks. So it just becomes 13k booster or attacker, which is very good. And then its second ability is actually what we run it for. It's on rearguard circle when it boosts if your soul has a grade 3. So basically if you've ridden twice in this game and you have not soul blasted the grade 3 out, then you can counterblast 1 when this card boosts, and your opponent cannot guard with sentinels from his or her hand, and then at the end of the battle you retire this unit. So this works out well because retiring the unit doesn't really mean anything between this and Zine, because you basically just bring back cards every turn with Malkuth-melekh. But also, at the same time, between Amputation Angel and Lamedo, you're able to control your opponent guarding, and they can't guard with Sentinels for the entire turn if you have the right setup. So just really making it so that your opponent's PGs are useless. If they check a PG, it's useless to them, and then you can just finish them off going aggressive with that. Our second grade 1 is Sekio Angel. This is actually probably my favorite card in the entire deck, and this is because this card allows you great defense while also allowing you some key matchup advantage in certain matchups. So you guys will see it in the games, but I think that this allows you a good matchup against Vanquisher or Kagero, Link Joker, things of that nature, because you're able to actually protect it from getting sniped. So Sekio Angel's skill is on the rearguard circle if you have a protect marker in the same column as this unit. This unit cannot be chosen by your opponent's effects. It gets intercept, and it can attack from the back row. So basically, it can intercept from the back row. I'm big, stupid, big, dumb. But yeah, so basically with it being able to attack from the back row, or sorry, with it being able to intercept from the back row, you're able to add more defense to your card, having Protect 2, and it just becomes an all-around really, really good thing that you can use to your advantage. Have 4 multi-medical angel, so you can really run any grade 1 in this 4-card slot that you want to. I personally chose multi-medical angel because it allows me to get to the units I want really fast. And it does not have a once per turn use, so if we get like multiple ones, like I can use 4 in a turn, just cycle, and it really fills up my drop zone as well, so that it has synergy with Malkuth-melekh. So let's talk about its skill. Is activation rearguard circle. If a new card was put into your damage zone this turn, which is basically Malkuth-melekh skill, Metatron skill, yeah, basically those two. Or if you, well, not if you took a damage this turn, because this is activation skill during your turn. So basically just those 2 cards. If we took a damage this turn, or a new card is put into our damage zone, then we can put this card to the bottom of our deck, draw 2 cards, and discard 1. So it basically allows you to draw 2, drop 1. Very, very good. Draw the cards you need and drop the cards that you don't need. So very good. So moving on to our grade 0s, we have 1 Aeroid Resh as our starter. This is the when rode upon draw card starter, and then if our opponent's Vanguard is grade 1 or greater, when we do that, then we can put a quick shield ticket into our hand. Quick shield tickets are not really as valuable in this deck as other decks, but it's 5k shield and an extra card nonetheless that you can use for a PG or something. So definitely not knocking it, just saying that it's not as useful in this deck as other decks. Then for our trigger lineup, we run 8 crit, 4 draw, and 4 heal. We run 4 critical hit angel, 2 hotshot celestial Samyaza, and 2 pinky denturist. Then we have 4 battle cupid no CL and 4 sunny smile angel. So that ends up being the deck list. So let's get right into the games portion of the video. So we're gonna load up our Angel Feather game 1, and we're actually going to mute this here if our computer will let us. There we go. Alright, so we're starting off the game. We're playing against Narukami. So we ride to grade 1. Our opponent rides Rising Phoenix, plays the Mighty Bolt Dragoon, gets a grade 3, and then discards the Quick Shield ticket, and then attacks us for 16, which we proceed to no guard. Our opponent gets a critical trigger. Good start to the game for him. And then we ride to grade 2. We attack for 9. We do get a heal, which is great for us. And then we attack for 27. Our opponent G-assists for grade 2, which is actually turns his solid start into a not so solid start. And then he gets rid of 2 cards for the G-assist cost and shuffles. But he uses the Cho-O skill to bind our front row and then move our Sekio Angel up, which is personally not something that I would have done, but you know, it doesn't really matter to us. But we do Malkuth-melekh, dealing him a damage. Thankfully, he does not check a defensive trigger, so we use Malkuth-melekh to get 2 cards from our drop zone, and then we just start attacking. So if you guys are wondering, the reason why I kept Sekio Angel in the front row with the Protect 2 on it is because it cannot be selected by effects, which means that it cannot be bound by the Narukami's effects. Like, basically Narukami has to attack into it or use a Cho-O, which he already used 1, and that card is limited to 2, to get rid of my Sekio. So very, very good. So we start going through his turn. He attacks with Mighty Bolt, and then attacks the Vanguard. We no guard, and then he attacks using the skill, and he wants us to bind Sekio Angel, but it cannot be chosen. And so we block with the card. And then he uses his grade 3 skill, and then he attacks our rear guard after noticing, and then we block our rear guard. We do use Metatron skill to counter boss 2 and move a card to the rear guard circle while healing a damage. And then we take ourselves a damage using the second skill. We get a crit, so we give the crit all to Vanguard. And then we use multi-medical angel skill, and we get another Sekio Angel off of that. So we're able to put another Sekio Angel in the front row, setting up well against Narukami because they are not able to do anything about like binding those. So we attack for 23, and he has to take it. So our opponent rides another Vanquisher, does not have a Cho-O, so he just plays down his whole hand, hoping to get something done. during this turn. So he attacks us for 20. He attacks a draw trigger, draws a card, and then checks a Venture. We damage check. He attacks 14 to our rear guard. We let it go. He attacks 16 to our rear guard. We let it go. And then he attacks 17 and then 27. Binding a card, drawing a card, and we block with a heal. And then we get another Metatron, putting another Protect 2 out, and then we call a Lamedo off the skill. And this time we're able to deal ourselves a damage, and we use Jamail, and we have 3 Protect 2s, so we were able to get 3 Amputation Angel off the top. Or sorry, one of those was in the bind zone already, and I didn't notice, so we're actually just getting 2 Amputation Angel. And then I shuffled my deck, and I played out the Amputation Angel. So as you guys can see, this is a really good setup because he has a PG in his hand. And then we're able to have double Amputation Angel, which means that he cannot PG both of our rearguard columns, but he PG'd our Vanguard. So if we had one counterblast open and we hadn't used it for Jomail, we could have used it for Lamedo, but then we wouldn't have had double Amputation Angel as well. And then we're also just set up well for the next turn too, in case he happened to heal, but he would have had to double 6 damage heal there. So that was game 1. So leading into game 2 here. Leading into game 2, we're playing against the new Dimension Police deck, which I was trying to find matches that were equivalent to this set being out, but there's just too many people on playing the new set of so it's fine. You know, we're just playing against it anyways to show you guys how it ages into the future. So we actually have to G-assist for grade 1, which was pretty awful, but we got rid of 2 cards from our hand. He attacks us for 16, gets a draw trigger. We take a damage, and it's Sekio Angel. We ride Zine, and we play Amputation Angel. So we attack with Zine, and then our rearguard Zine gets at 19k, and then we get rid of his grade 1 as well, which that was a really good promo for us to get rid of. It's the Twin Order promo, which is a broken card in my opinion. It's just so good. But he attacks us for 23. We have to ride Metatron because we do not have anything else to ride, but we do use the skill to take a new damage. So we draw 2 and discard 1, so we have 2 PGs in our hand and a Metatron. So we attack Vanguard for 12. We attack for 29. And then our opponent rides Metalborg Sinbuster, counterblasting, or sorry, not counterblasting, using the skill to call Urbuster. And then he Soul Blast 1 for Urbuster to retire one of our rear guards, and it gets plus 10k. I wasn't really worried about this looking based on the skill, but this is a threatening column because it does prevent you from guard restricting in 2 different ways. We do check a heal on our own, and then we're able to take the rear guards more because of that. So we ride another Metatron. We use Metatron skill, counterblast 2, and we call a Sekio Angel. We use Metatron skill to deal ourselves a new damage, and then we play a Ampule Diffuser out. So Ampule Diffuser is 29 because it's on Protect 2 and because he has 2 face up counterblasts. So we attack him, and then he blocks with a good amount of cards. We attack for 27. We do heal, so we double heal during this turn, which is amazing. And then we're actually able to attack really big, which he goes for a PG. I guess knowing that from the next turn onwards he wouldn't be able to PG, he decided to use it there. But he rode a new Sinbuster, calls a new Urbuster, and uses the skill to bum one of our units off. So I have this irrational fear of Dimension Police critting me while I'm at low damage, so I usually always block their damage like that. So basically he makes sure that we have guard restrict, but we do no guard this. And he gets triple drive, and then basically he attacks our rear guard. So we ride, we use Malkuth-melekh skill to heal off the damage, and then we use Malkuth-melekh skill again to call W Amputation Angel and a Sekio, setting us up well for defense, and then dealing ourselves a damage and calling a Labedo. So we attack for 42, he cannot PG it, and we attack for 25, he cannot PG it. So we do check a crit, he gets a draw trigger, and the such, and then we attack with our rearguard column, which he cannot PG either. And as you guys can see, this is just really setting up a bad scenario for our opponent, because it's really hard for them to get stuff done while they have a low card to hand and they can't use PGs. So even if they did have a low card hand with PGs, they wouldn't be able to block the attacks. So we guard his 21, and then when his 66 attacks, we PG this one because we definitely do not want to get double crit. He checks a heal, And then we get a draw trigger. We use Malkuth-melekh skill to heal off one, and then this time, instead of using the second skill, we just don't use it because we have already like a pretty decent board, and this way we get to stay at 3. So that's also a option with Malkuth-melekh that I didn't really go over, is that you can just choose the heal and not use the second ability, and then you're just, you know, at +1 with your opponent as far as damage. So then our opponent has the next turn because they actually had a decent amount of shield in their hand. However, with 2 heals in our hand, a PG, and 4 Protect 2 markers with units that can intercept, like, I just don't see him coming out of this alive. But he does attack for 66, which we PG again. And then he attacks us for 20, which we guard. And then we just attack. He does get a 6 damage heal. So then he no guards Vanguard. We do not hit him because of the defense. But then we are able to attack him for 42, which he's able to live. So he continues to live. Then he plays another Platinum Ace. Using the skill of Sendbuster to get plus power. We do no guard it because we're at 3, so we just took that damage for free. And then he attacks with this no skill, and then attacks with Platinum Ace, does use the skill, which we intercept, and then we get another Amputation Angel. So this time we just attack him for 42, and that ends the game. So as you guys can see, we were never really threatened from a point of the game being passed. So even when he did that 6 damage heal, it was kind of just like, okay, you're delaying the inevitable. So yeah. So we're playing against D-Police again. This is actually a different D-Police player, however. So he rides a grade 1, we ride a grade 1, we attack for 8. And then he rides Cosmo Beak, and then attacks us with Die Brave and Cosmo Beak. So he's able to use Die Brave skill to draw a card. We set up a really tough board because we just wanted to rush here. So we attack for 17. We do get a crit, which helps our rush out. And then our Ample Diffuser, since he has a lot of damage, just dealt a really high column of damage. But he's able to go into Super Dimensional Robo Dayusha. He attacks us for 13, which we intercept, knowing that this will go into the soul and he will get an additional drive check. So we no guard that. And it has 2 crit. And he gets triple drive, so thankfully he doesn't get any swole checks. And then we intercept. We go into Malkuth-melekh using the skill to heal off the damage, and then we use the Vanguard skill to Soul Blast 1 and call 3 cards. We do call a Zine just because even though it'll get rid of itself, we don't have a Protect 2 there yet. So we do use a double Multi-Medical Angel. We put the Die Dragon to the damage zone and make him heal 1. Then we attack for 30, which he chooses to no guard. And then he gets a draw trigger on defense. And then we attack him with the other rear guard column, which he blocks with a 1-card block. He rides another Dayusha. And then he uses the skill to rest Dilander and then get plus 10k. He actually plays another Dizoris and uses the skill to rest. So then he attacks for 13k, which we block. Counterboss 1 going to the soul, and then he attacks for 53, which we PG. He gets a PG and a heal, so he heals down 1 damage. And then he attacks our rear guard, which we choose to block because we did not have another card to get off. But we do ride Metatron, and we call a crit out. We put a heal back to bottom, we take a new damage, and then we play an Amputation Angel in the same spot. So we attack for 29, and then we attack for 35 with Lamedo. He cannot PG, and he no guards it because he cannot block it, and we check a draw and a critical trigger. So he takes those 2 damage and he loses the game. But I hope that was the last game. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely a new style type of video. Let me know in the description down below if you enjoyed the video, but also if you enjoyed the new style of video. So yeah, leave a like down below, comment down below, and subscribe and click that bell button so you don't have to miss any future videos going forward. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch. I will be streaming tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys want to come through while we play some Pokemon, definitely do that. And then check out the join button and the second channel if you guys are interested in anime, animation, or video games. But with that being said, this has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I'll see you guys.